why Joe Biden is going to beat Donald Trump is because at the end of the day, America is going to want a president who is a decent human being, who doesn't shit on other people.
Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th president.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice, Micah.
There is no doubt remaining he is unfit for the presidency.
Well, but this was our big gun. Now it just looks like you're stalking him.
Bill Maher just went where few liberals dare to tread, and he did it without raising his voice. In front of millions, he calmly exposed a brutal truth to none other than Congressman Adam Schiff. It wasn't a loud takedown. It wasn't a viral soundbite built for rage clicks. It was a surgical moment of clarity, one that cut through the noise of partisan spin. What Maher said about Trump, and more importantly, about the Democrats, has everyone talking. Some are calling it betrayal. Others are calling it bravery.
The only thing he cares about is himself and money, and going after the money is a way to bring about some real justice.
Do you think he did it?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Has some interest in the American people, some interest in something beyond himself. I think at the end of the day, people are going to reject this bigoted, divisive figure.
Whatever side you fall on, one thing is clear: Maher didn't hold back, and Schiff didn't see it coming. This moment took place on a recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the HBO talk show known for unapologetic, unfiltered political conversation. Sitting across from Maher was Adam Schiff, the California congressman who spent years leading the charge against Donald Trump. For those expecting a routine anti-Trump exchange, this interview turned into something very different. Instead of echoing Schiff's warnings about Trump's dangers, Maher offered his own, this time directed at the Democrats. He warned that January 6, 2025 could be even worse than 2021, and that the left's current approach is fueling the fire, not putting it out. His words weren't just sobering, they were spine-chilling.
We can speak out about this and other injustices. We can demand more. We can push back against the threats of impeachment to our judiciary, the threats of violence to judges and their families. We don't have to tolerate this, and we can't.
He's like the last person, maybe the last thing in America that left and right agreed on. Left and right basically agreed. This is a guy of honor. This is an honest guy. This is an honest broker. Whatever he says goes. Americans are not into details. Don't read it to me, Bob. Just give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down.
This wasn't just a TV moment. It was a mirror held up to a divided nation and a political class that might be steering straight into disaster. To understand why this conversation hit so hard, we have to go back to the aftermath of January 6, 2021. The Capitol insurrection wasn't just an attack on a building. It was a blow to America's belief in peaceful transitions of power. Adam Schiff became one of the central figures in the fallout. He led the charge in Trump's second impeachment, served on the January 6th committee, and made countless media appearances sounding the alarm on the former president's authoritarian leanings. For many Democrats, Schiff was a hero, proof that someone in Washington was willing to confront Trumpism head-on. But over time, the narrative started to feel recycled, predictable, almost ineffective. Trump wasn't fading. In fact, he was thriving politically, even after 2 impeachments, multiple indictments, and relentless media criticism. And that's exactly the contradiction Maher wanted to confront. On Maher's show, Schiff laid out his usual arguments. Trump is dangerous, democracy is fragile, and Democrats must win the House and Senate to prevent disaster. All fair points. But Maher wasn't having it. He pivoted the conversation, not to defend Trump, but to challenge the Democrats' strategy. Trump is cool now, Maher said. It was blunt, it was controversial, but it struck a nerve because it wasn't entirely wrong. Maher argued that the left's obsession with virtue signaling, cancel culture, and identity politics had alienated the very voters they claimed to protect. Meanwhile, Trump, despite more because of his legal issues, is seen by many as a defiant, relatable figure. Maher's point wasn't that Trump is good, it's that the left looks worse. And in politics, optics often matter more than facts. Then came the quote that changed the tone of the entire conversation. Maher leaned forward and said quietly, "I think it's going to happen." January 6th, 2025. It's going to get very violent out there. The room fell silent. Schiff, clearly caught off guard, reiterated that Democrats needed to keep control of Congress to prevent such a repeat. But Maher wasn't talking about legislative strategy. He was talking about cultural momentum. Maher's voice didn't rise. He didn't pound the table. But his calm certainty carried more weight than 100 campaign ads. It was a warning from someone who had seen the pattern before. The tension wasn't just in their words, it was in the subtext. What if the Democrats have already lost the narrative? Social media lit up like a wildfire. Clips of Maher's calm takedown circulated on X or Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube within hours. Conservatives celebrated the moment, claiming Maher was finally acknowledging what they've been saying for years. Hashtags like Maher was right, to Schiff owned and on Trump 2024 trended across platforms. One popular tweet read, "When Bill Maher is more red-pilled than your average Republican, you know the game's changed." Meanwhile, progressives were split. Some praised Maher's honesty. Others accused him of normalizing Trumpism or selling out to the right. But even those critics had to admit Maher wasn't wrong about the Democrats' messaging problem. The YouTube comments under the episode were brutal. Many users said Schiff looked like he was clinging to old talking points, while Maher spoke to where the country actually is. It was clear who won that exchange. In the days following the interview, Schiff doubled down on his warnings about Trump, calling for continued investigations and electoral protections. But the momentum seems to be slipping. Voter fatigue is real, and Trump's base isn't shrinking. Despite multiple indictments, Trump is still leading the GOP field. In fact, recent polls show him beating Biden in several key swing states. And with the Supreme Court punting on ballot disqualifications, Trump's path to the presidency remains wide open. Meanwhile, Maher has continued to distance himself from Democratic orthodoxy. His recent monologues criticize both woke extremism and Republican authoritarianism, positioning him as a centrist voice in a polarized time. It's a strategy that resonates with independents and disillusioned liberals, many of whom feel politically homeless. And in that vacuum, Maher's warning about 2025 is starting to sound a lot less like hyperbole and a lot more like inevitability. The Maher-Schiff moment wasn't just a TV spectacle, it was a gut check for a political class that's still fighting yesterday's war while tomorrow's storm is already brewing. Schiff remains a symbol of institutional resistance, but Maher may have just become a symbol of uncomfortable truth. He voiced what many in the middle have been thinking. Trump isn't winning because he's right. He's winning because his enemies look out of touch. This wasn't a takedown in the traditional sense. It was more powerful than that. It was a calm, calculated intervention from someone who sees disaster on the horizon and is trying to shout over the noise without actually shouting. Whether you agree with Maher or not, one thing's clear: the Democrats can't afford to ignore this message, because next time, the stakes will be even higher. Now, we want to hear from you. Was Bill Maher right about the Democrats and their strategy? Is Adam Schiff just repeating failed talking points, or is he the last line of defense against a second Trump presidency? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're diving into your takes in our next video, and if you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.